Hello, everyone. I'm Shawnta Jackson, and welcome to today's book discussion. We are streaming live on Facebook and live on YouTube. You can participate in more than one way. You can simply enter your comments, questions, and your testimonials and your book reviews in the comment chat box. And for those of you who subscribe to my mailing list, you received a link, and if you'd like to, you can join me on camera. I'll go ahead and get started. From the very beginning. So for today's format, I'll tell you a little bit about myself, about the journal, and then we'll have a live poetry performance by Shawnta Rogers of Baltimore, Maryland. And then we'll actually get into the actual book reading and discussion and any closing remarks. So a little bit about me. Again, my name is Shawnta Jackson. I am a leader, mother, and social entrepreneur with a vision to help people to help themselves and others. For the past 11 years, I have worked with organizations across the United States to assist them with the strategy, implementation, evaluation of their socially conscious initiatives, and I also serve as a facilitator and guest speaker for professional and community audiences. I have a Master of Public Health degree in Social and Behavioral Health from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and a Bachelor of Arts in Public Relations from Columbia College, Chicago. I am a woman with lived experiences, and my experiences include Las Vegas, Chicago, and Metro Washington, Baltimore. I actually was born and raised in Las Vegas. I spent my young adult years in Chicago, back to Las Vegas to find myself. And for the past 7 years, I've resided in the Metro Washington, Baltimore area with my son, Zachary. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of my book, The Journal of a Woman with Lived Experiences, a 21-day guided journal. So the intended benefits of this book include clarification of your thoughts and feelings, a better understanding of yourself, relief from stress and anxiety, an increase in your problem-solving skills, an improvement in the way you communicate with the people who matter, and other positive impacts on your physical and mental well-being. And finally, why my book is relevant and important. Journaling is often an exercise recommended by healthcare professionals, counselors, therapists, and life coaches, but many people don't know how to journal or where to start, and this book teaches you how to start, and it provides real-life examples, my real-life examples, my personal journal entries. And also, this book may prompt individuals to seek professional help. And then also, mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, how we act, and it also helps to determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. And this book is intended to help you to improve your emotional, psychological, and social well-being, your mental health. And then also, as of February of 2019, in the United States, only 41% of the people who had a mental health disorder or a mental disorder in the past year actually received professional health care or other services. So again, this is why I feel that my book is relevant and important. And as you can see, those are the intended benefits of using my book, The Journal of a Woman with Lived Experiences, a 21-day guided journal. But what do others have to say? Some of my readers say, this is M. Milbourne in Concord, California, and she says, Shawnta's book has provided space for me to ask myself some really important questions about who I am and what I value. The journal prompts have given me an opportunity to reflect on the past experiences that helped shape me. Being able to read Shawnta's experiences, seeing her vulnerability, gives me permission to dig deeper into my own. This book has already been vital to my growth. I only wish I had it in my 20s. And Elizabeth in Maryland says, your story inspired me to start journaling again. Like you, I used to journal every day, but a friend of mine read my journal and tore my journal and told me to never write my experience down again, that it's embarrassing, so I never wrote again. I have been thinking about starting since your launch. Thanks for inspiring me. And then finally, Sharon Lewis in Caroline County, Maryland says, when I tell you that this book is on point, I got to get one from my daughter who's living her best life at Morgan State. LOL. I pray that this book makes it to Oprah Winfrey's hands. The world needs this. Thank you so much, Sharon, Elizabeth, and M. Milburn. Okay. And so now what we'll do is I have a guest performer. Her name is Shawnta Rogers, and she is from Baltimore, Maryland. And so for the past 21 days, what I did is I shared my personal journal entries. I shared 21 of my personal journal entries. And I reached out to Shawnta and I asked her which journal entries resonated with her the most. And her performances are actually based on my journal entries. But before she comes on, I'll give you all a brief introduction to her. So Shawnta Rogers is a 19-year-old incoming freshman at Morgan State University. She has been writing poetry since elementary and performing it for a couple of years now. She fell in love with writing poetry at a young age because she loved the whole vibe of writing things that sounded smooth, words that rhymed and created her own rhythm. However, as she got older, she started writing her feelings, thoughts, and emotions into her poems and writing became the place she would run if she had something she couldn't get out of her mind or if she had something she wanted the world to know. Once Shawnta got a taste of performing her own poetry, it was something that she couldn't get enough of. Despite the nerves she gets before performing, the high she gets while performing beats the nerves any day because anytime she performs her poetry, she feels like she's allowing the world to see the most unapologetic version of herself because it's nothing but her voice, and her art. Everyone, welcome Shawnta Rogers of Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. So the first journal entry I'm going to start with is managing anxiety and stress. And it reads, I just need to remind myself that God is with me and guiding me. I can only do so much in one day. So I chose this journal entry because it aligned with the poem that I already wrote called 2020, in which I wrote this poem when in the beginning of the year when all of this pandemic stuff was going on, my graduation stuff was happening. I had lost a really close family member. I just felt like lost. I felt like God wasn't on my side. I just wanted to know why was all of this stuff happening to me. And I just constantly found myself in question of why are you doing this to me? So I wrote this poem to kind of sum all my feelings up. Have y'all ever felt so much pain, so much wrong that you sit and ask, why me? See, my life was going good for a minute, not perfect, but it was cool. I think I got so caught up in all the goodness that I forgot how hard reality can hit and what it could do. But damn, did it have to be right now? I dreamt of this year for so long. I just knew 2020 was going to be my best year, my best song. I think I came into the year with no fear because I just knew. But maybe the universe didn't like that, or maybe some high being see my confidence and took it just like that. But I just want to know why me. I worked my behind off to get to this point, and here y'all telling me I can't walk across the stage. I stayed out multiple nights trying to get to my cap and gown days, planning events with my class, but luckily I ain't pay no cash because them dudes would have been something else on my mind plate. And if you think I'm being dramatic, close your mouth because you obviously can't relate. My apologies for the disrespect, but it feels I have nothing left. Hoping whoever is doing this will develop some type of sympathy because I'm tired of waking up, looking at the news like, are you kidding me? Looking at the same walls in my house. I need options visually. Asking God, what did I do to live in this misery? See, I know I'm not supposed to question God, but isn't it bad enough you took my uncle? See, I've been thinking of doing all the things you people think I won't do. Thinking about getting sky high or dumb drunk. But give it a couple seconds because then I'll be crying, ready to die. trying to figure out how long is my lifeline. But then I really don't care because at this point, I don't even want to be here. See, they say everything happens for a reason. But what reason could this be? They say you won't get what you can't handle. Well, I'd rather be the weakest link. Pain like this make you never want to get back up. I know everything is part of a plan, but maybe it would have helped if God would have gave me a heads up or something in advance. I could have been a little more prepared, a little more aware of this crazy ass year. Or maybe it wouldn't have helped at all. But if everybody got a piece, then tell me what's my part. Again, with the questions I know, but why me is all I must know. So that poem again is called 2020, and that just basically just reflects on my feelings and how I was feeling when I, earlier during the year. The second journal entries that I chose was the first one, owning your story, the power of storytelling. And it reads, at that time he told me that I was a smart dumb bitch and that I didn't have shit and never would. No one would want me and that I'll never find anyone like him. The second one, self-validation. I welcome feedback, but I'm not seeking validation or approval. And I have to be more conscious of my thoughts because other humans can pick up on the energy that I'm transmitting. And a poem that I wrote inspired by those two journal entries are called Us Against the World, in which I just touched on how a lot of us Black girls or Black women, we deal with people telling us all the time that we're not good enough, that we're not smart enough. And whether it be directly stated or indirectly stated, it's definitely happening. And I called it Us Against the World because I also wanted to highlight the fact that nowadays I see a lot of people telling other women who experience things that it's like if it didn't happen to them directly, then it's not real, or they try to invalidate other people's experiences. Although someone may not have ever told me to my face that I was a dumb bitch, I'm not gonna invalidate that experience. As Black women, I think we all, or Black girls and Black women, we all need to stand in solidarity and unity, because honestly, it's really just us against the world. So here I go. Young Black girl with big dreams. Yup, that's me. But also many more. Don't ever alter or change yourself to something you don't want to be, even more something you can't stand to see. Young Black girl who wants the world at her fingertips, cash and all. Make sure you ball and get up every time you fall. But truthfully, it's not even about the cash, because I could care less about that. But it'd be nice if I could drop a bed to ice my wrist, diamonds so crisp, dancing and shit. What they say, diamonds are a girl's best friend. See, I would agree if I didn't consider myself and every girl with skin as dark as mine a diamond or jewel. I wish the rest of society could see this and not be silly fools. Instead, hate is what they do, coming in forms of neighbors, friends, even lovers. Girl, never underestimate those under your covers, because they can hate you too. Whether it be indirect or directly stated, it all holds the same weight. I could tell them I want a degree, and they'll sit and laugh at me in my face and tell me that that isn't my place, and to stop fronting because I'll never be nothing. Girl, you ain't smart enough to do that. And you lazy, so how you gonna work hard enough to prove that? And you not that pretty, so your looks ain't gonna get you far enough to move that. So who you fooling? But see, instead of being who y'all want me to be, doing what y'all want me to do, I guarantee I won't stoop to y'all level. I won't seek an opinion or validation. I know that must be a true devastation. But on my part, it's truly just time wasting. Young Black girl with big dreams. Yes, that's me, unapologetically. And I'ma be everything I want and dream to be. And for you motherfuckers in the back, just wait and see. And that's the last poem. Yeah, like I just really, I don't know, I felt like the journal entries that Miss Shawnta wrote were very vulnerable, and I wanted my poems to, match that energy that she brought into her journal. So thank you. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can follow me or get in contact with me on social media. My Instagram is, give me a second, y'all. Give me 1 second. My Instagram is Shugo, SHEEGGO. Or you could contact me by email at ShawntaRogers@gmail.com. SHASHONNAROGERS@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shoshana. I really appreciate that. And just before you get off, I want to give you the opportunity to see what others have to say about your performance. Lorinda McKelvey, she says, young Black girl, you give an awesome presentation. Or young Black girl, you have awesome presentation skills. Thanks for sharing your poetry.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, and then let's see. And also Lorinda says, wow. This is during your first reading. She says, wow, thanks for being transparent and sharing how 2020 has or has you feeling. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. For those of you who are just now joining, I am Shawnta Jackson, the author of The Journal of a Woman with Lived Experiences, a 21-day guided journal. And if you haven't already, you can purchase a copy of my book at shawntajackson.com. Thank you everyone for joining. And we have, let's see where you come. We have Shan in Brandywine, Maryland, Latoya and Disputanta, Virginia. We have Lorinda, she's in Minnesota. Audrey Parker, she's in Las Vegas. Let's see, where else are you guys you all calling in from? We have Latoya Watry is in Las Vegas. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so Shoshana, she actually, there were 3 poems that she noted. It was my first journal entry, The Power of Storytelling, and then my other 2 journal entries, self-validation and managing stress and anxiety. And so before I actually get into reading those journal entries or discussing them, I'll tell you a little bit about how this book came to be. I journal as an adult, like many of you, or maybe not, but I've always journaled, and I always thrown my journals away out of shame, embarrassment, and just guilt. And I never wanted anyone to see them. But in 2019, I decided to start a journal that I knew was going to be special. And I did not intend for it to be shared with the world. It was actually for my son. I just wanted to leave a legacy in the event that something happened to me, or even, let's say I died of old age. I would want my son and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren just to know a little bit about me and my thoughts and just who I was as an individual, and coming from me and versus stories from other people. And once I got into reading more of the journal entries, and this is around the fall of 2019, I got a little embarrassed again. And I'm single and I'm dating, and I talk a lot about love, manifesting love, expecting love, self-validation. And I got embarrassed again, and that wasn't something that I necessarily wanted my son to see. Until I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I read one of my journal entries to him, and he told me, no, keep your journal. You can actually help someone. And you never know, it's a part of your legacy. And so we were just thinking, or the conversation that we were having at that time was not about publishing a book. It was just about keeping it. And then you never know who's going to find your personal journal. And then I knew something was going to be special about this journal, but I didn't necessarily know what. And then I just had like this aha moment, which I believe that any idea that you get is from God. So I got this message and this aha moment for me to write a book. And I said, you know what, I'm going to publish my personal journal entries. And the reason why I decided to publish my personal journal entries is because I know that I could possibly help someone. And I know that there are women who think similar to me, and who may have a similar story. And I could help I'm exploring myself at the same time, so it's a little vanity there, and but I'm learning more about myself in the process. But in the process, I can demonstrate to others and model how I've managed to self coach myself, how I've managed to provide self therapy to myself through journaling, how I've managed to self motivate myself through journaling. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of coaches, mentors, counselors, therapists, and our friends, they encourage us to journal, but a lot of people don't know how to journal or where to start. And so my book provides those personal journal entries. I'll tell you a little bit about the format of the book. So the format is I share my personal journal entry. I'm sorry, rewind. The format of the book is I introduce the topic. And I introduce the topic and what I think about that topic. And then I share my personal journal entry. And then after I share my personal journal entry, I actually have blank pages in the book. I provide a prompt with blank pages for you, the reader, to actually write. So it is a guided journal, and I am sharing my personal journal entry. So that's what makes the book unique. Again, if you haven't already, you can visit my website at shawntajackson.com to purchase a copy. The book is only available at shawntajackson.com. So my first journal entry, the power of storytelling. I won't read the journal entry to you, but I'll read the introduction that I was telling you about. So Shawnta's first journal entry, owning your story, the power of storytelling. As humans, we all face some type of adversity in our lives, and as hard as it seems in the moment and even after, we are resilient. I'm resilient, you're resilient. The purpose of this first journal entry is to help you to understand the importance of telling and owning your personal story as a way to help yourself and others. Telling your story also helps you to find peace within and establishes your voice. Be heard. I'll begin with one of my stories of resilience that I consider a turning point in my life. So that particular story of resilience, I can just tell you a little bit about it. When I was 19 years old, I lived in Chicago. I was second semester of my freshman year, and I had a boyfriend. And my boyfriend, he was 25, and I was 19, and he had 5 kids. And I was married when I was 21. So I was in undergrad in college, married with 5 stepchildren. And that was a very unhealthy relationship. At times there was physical abuse, verbal abuse, and control at various stages of the relationship. And in this particular journal entry, I tell the story of when my son was maybe like 2 weeks before his first birthday. And we took a road trip to Atlanta. And from that road trip, I had 3 pairs of dirty clothes, $200, a pair of sunglasses, and my baby in his car seat. And I never went back home that day. So imagine today, so I'm actually in my home office now. So just imagine today that you leave your house and you never go back. You never have the opportunity to pack your social security cards, your birth certificates, your pictures, your clothing, your jewelry. You only have what you have on your person. And so that's how I went home to my family in Las Vegas, again, with those 3 pairs of dirty clothes and my baby and $200. And normally, naturally, sometimes you try to make things work. And the last day that we were ever together in Las Vegas, I actually slept in the bed with my shoes on because I wasn't allowed to leave the house. And the next morning I snuck out of the house. And 2 weeks later, I moved on with the rest of my life. And here I am now. So I am, as I mentioned earlier in the introduction, I don't know if you all had the opportunity to see it, but I am a professional. I am an entrepreneur. I am a speaker. I am an author. And I work with organizations across the country, doing various speaking engagements and helping them to plan socially conscious initiatives. And the reason I decided to share this story is because I know that right now there are women who are in this same situation. And I'm modeling to you and I'm showing you that if I could do it, and knowing what you know about my story just from me telling you, and not even the full story that's included in the actual journal entry, but based off of what I just told you, I'm telling my story because, again, I'm modeling. If I can do it, so can you. And then also another reason why I decided to tell that personal story of resilience is because, as I mentioned, I'm single and I'm dating, and I talk about love and relationships and dating in my personal journal entries. And I tell my story of personal resilience so that you, as the reader, can understand where I'm coming from as the writer. So when I was writing my journal entry, so that you can have a better understanding of me. And so what I'll do right now is I'll pause and look at the comments and see if anyone has anything to say. Let's see. Oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And we have Elois Kelly. She's a domestic violence advocate and trauma specialist in Silver Spring, Maryland. And Doretha Lewis in Baltimore says that she loved reading and journaling in my book. Thank you so much. Do you all have any questions for me before I move on? Well, I'll continue, and you just let me know if you have any questions. So Shawnta, the poet, she also talked about my sixth journal entry, which is self-validation. And I'll actually share the intro, and then, as I mentioned, I have prompts for you, the reader, to write, and I'll share the prompt for that. So the sixth journal entry, page 33, self-validation. In 2002, 3 well-known researchers published what has now been cited in over 600 research articles pertaining to self-validation. In their article, the researchers explained why they refer to In their article, the researchers explain what they refer to as self-validation hypothesis, which basically states that the degree of confidence that people have in their own thoughts affects their self-validation. Positive thoughts increase our level of persuading ourselves, which in my opinion leads to increased self-validation and lesser reliance on others to validate who we are and what we can achieve. And then I share my personal journal entry. Then I provide a prompt for you, the reader, and space for you to write. You have 3 pages to write. And so the prompt for you, the reader, think about a time when you have or have not sought validation or approval from a person other than yourself. Ask yourself if this is a pattern, and if so, is it a healthy pattern? Moving forward, what type of positive thoughts about you are, moving forward, what type of positive thoughts about you are you and your ability to achieve would you rather produce? You write the date, and then you do your write your own personal journal entry. Let's see. Elois says this was a great journal. Thank you, Elois. All right. So Shoshana talked about managing stress and anxiety, but I want to go to love, and I actually want to read my actual journal entry to you. Let's see. Manifesting love. I'll read a little bit of the introduction. So based on my personal research and experiences, love can be explained as follows. And you tell me in the comments if you agree. 1, love is empathy and caring, not lust and infatuation. 2, love is a verb and action. 3, how we express love can be influenced by our culture, upbringing, and past experiences. 4, love motivates people to care for others by trying to prevent or end their suffering. 5, love is patient and kind and requires acceptance. 6, love is not a fixed amount. 7, love is communicated in different ways, and we have to learn how we communicate our love and how our partner communicates their love. Love has languages. That's the introduction to my fourth journal entry, Manifesting Love. Okay. And before we close out, I'll go ahead and read my actual fourth journal entry, Manifesting Love, which is on page 24. I'm in tune with myself, and I'm wise enough to recognize whether a person is right for me. I'm really good at spotting the no's, but I'm working on opening my eyes to the yeses. I want love, true, sincere, unconditional love. Love for myself, love for him, love for each other, love for life, love for God, and love for those that both he and I love. I want respect, admiration, and attraction as well, not just physical attraction. Attraction to his mind, his heart, his ways, the way he carries himself, how he treats others, and his thought processes. Although he will have a mind of his own, he will think like me, he will lead me, carry me, and follow me too. I love him already, and I don't think that we've met. If we have, my eyes and my heart have not opened to see or feel him. I just have to open up and let someone in, but at the same time, maintain respect for myself and my values. I'm done letting people take advantage of me, my time, my body, and my mind. He has to have self-respect and respect for me, my time, and my emotions. I'm trying my best to avoid selfish, insecure, and egotistical men. Your fourth journal entry, Manifesting Love. Think about how you can love yourself better. Whether you have a significant other or not, write how you want that person to love you. Reflect on the internal and external love you need to maintain a healthy relationship with yourself and the person you will share your life with. You write down today's date and journal away. Thank you, Lorinda. So what do you all think? What do you all think? If you're just joining me, again, everyone, I'm Shawnta Jackson, the author of The Journal of a Woman with Lived Experiences, a 21-day guided journal. And my book is only available at ShawntaJackson.com, and it's actually on sale right now for $15.95. So again, visit my website at ShawntaJackson.com, and you can follow me on social media at the Shawnta Jackson on Facebook and at the Shawnta Jackson on Instagram. Any questions or comments before we close out? I'll tell you a little bit, just kind of like where I'm at about manifesting love, a status update, because we're in 2020 now, and I wrote these journal entries in 2019. I currently feel the same way. I want love. I'm active. I date, but I don't think that I know I've met him yet. And like I said, if I have, my eyes have not opened up to see him. And just like, as far as like what's next for me and what's next for this book, I released it in January 2020, and had planned to go across the country, but COVID-19 happened. And so I've pretty much been just promoting virtually this book. And my next phase for this particular book is to publish it as an audiobook before I begin writing my next book. And then additionally, I've developed, so I'm a facilitator, and my background is as a health educator. So what I've done is I've developed programming for this book. So if you if you're part of a community-based organization, nonprofit organization, or if you work in social and behavioral health, or even if you are a HR professional and you'd like to have me as a guest speaker, I could come in and speak for as little as 1 hour or as much as 4 weeks. So it depends. I have different programming developed for that. And if you haven't already, I'll mention it again. Visit my website at ShawntaJackson.com. On my website, there's my bio, I have a link for bookings and media, and I actually serve as a guest on the podcast and radio shows of others. So a few of those interviews are posted on the website as well. And the interest form and all of my contact information is available on my website at shawntajackson.com. And I have, let's see, we have a comment from Elois. Can't begin to love anyone until you love yourself. That is true. And the same thing goes for trust. You have to learn how to trust yourself. And what I mean by trust yourself is trust that you will make the best decision for yourself moving forward. Trust that you have, I'm hoping that through this journal, it will help you with self-reflection as well. But basically, work on yourself internally, do some self-reflection, some self-assessment, be honest with yourself, work on loving yourself and trusting yourself to make the right decisions. And then from there, everything will be okay. And as Elois said, you can't begin to love anyone until you love yourself. And then make sure you know what love means for you. Everyone has their own definition of love. Everyone has their own way of expressing love as well and communicating that love. And so know what that means for you, so that way when you find someone, you know how to communicate and tell them how you want to be loved. How you want to be loved and how you expect to be loved. And then you can have a conversation with that person and learn how that person wants to be loved. And just remember, a healthy relationship is not just about love. A healthy relationship is about trust, communication, and respect. But as Elois said, you have to work on yourself internally first. Okay. And we have a question from Lorinda. What are habits you try to avoid as you manifest your mate love? We have patterns. Sometimes we have different thought patterns where sometimes it could be positive and sometimes it could be negative. I do a lot of self-talk and a lot of self-coaching. So whenever I have a shell and I have an issue with being vulnerable, and I could talk all day. I can talk business, I can talk politics, I can talk even just about third person about this journal. But when it actually comes to expressing myself and trusting someone enough to really let them know about me and my desires and my weaknesses and my strengths and my vulnerabilities, I kind of lock up and I'm very judgmental. I find things wrong with the guy. He can have the wrong shoes, and I don't like his watch, and I don't like the stain that was on the corner of his shirt. I just find little things. And so those habits, I'm conscious of them and I'm aware of them because I'm able to speak about them now. So when I find myself doing that, I talk myself out of it and I say, you know what, Shawnta, if you really want to be with someone, it's there. The love is there. And someone once told me that eventually I'll have to choose. But you have to, I think we choose each other. Two people have to choose, and it has to be, you have to mutually agree. And I was actually giving this guy some dating advice the other day. I served on his podcast. It was I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the podcast. But anyway, I was on his podcast and he was telling me about a past relationship and another past relationship. And I noticed a pattern that he had. And so what he was doing is he was exclusively dating these women without them having that mutual conversation. And so it was kind of like a one-sided relationship. And so that's something that I tell myself, and that's something that I would advise to everyone out there who's dating. When I think it's okay to date more than one person at a time. And if you're liking someone, naturally, you don't want to talk to other people and you want to spend more time with that person. But don't put yourself in a situation to where it's just in your mind and you're being faithful to that person. You're not going out. You're not giving anyone else a chance because it's all in your mind and you haven't had that conversation with that person. It has to be mutually beneficial. So again, that communication, right? Trust, communication, and respect. That was kind of off topic, but that's just some advice that just came to mind. Let's see. Well, everyone, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up now. I really appreciate you joining me for this live stream book discussion, this unedited, non-private book discussion. This is my first time doing this on Facebook and YouTube Live. Um, and again, I'm Shawnta Jackson, the author of The Journal of a Woman with Lived Experiences, a 21-day guided journal. If you haven't already, visit my website to purchase a copy of the book. If you already have a copy, think about gifting this for someone that you care about or someone who may benefit from this guided journal. And remember, men journal too. A lot of men are reading and a lot of men are supporting me as well. So have a blessed day, everyone. Be safe and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much for joining me.